On August 21st, 1911, the painting by the 31-year-old Italian craftsman Vincenzo Peruggia was stolen, who was working at the Louvre at that time. He had hidden himself over a night in a closet within the museum, detached the painting from its frame, and on the following day, presumably wrapped in his smock, smuggled it out of the museum. Although a left thumbprint was secured on the protective glass case of the painting, it was simply forgotten to match this clue with the anthropometric card of the perpetrator and occasional criminal available with the police. Initially, the poet Guillaume Apollinaire and the painter Pablo Picasso came under suspicion of having stolen the Mona Lisa. On August 30th, 1911, Gray Pierretz, who at the time had lived with Apollinaire, had confessed to a Persian newspaper as a thief of sculptures stolen from the museum's storage and sold to a painter. He returned one of the sculptures to the newspaper. A few days later, Picasso brought 2 more of these sculptures, which he had purchased from the Pierre through Apollinaire, to the newspaper after being promised anonymity. When the newspaper reported on September 6, 1911, the police, who had meanwhile determined Pierret's connection to Apollinaire, arrested the poet. During questioning, he also implicated Picasso to exonerate himself. Picasso was subsequently questioned on September 9, 1911, although not arrested. Although Pierret had no knowledge of the theft of the Mona Lisa, he also announced that another theft would soon return the Mona Lisa. However, the court could ultimately not prove Apollinaire's or Picasso's complicity in the theft of the sculptures, let alone the Mona Lisa, and the artists were acquitted. Further investigations by the police led nowhere, and the theft remained unsolved for more than 2 years. For the Louvre, it meant a huge scandal. The government dismissed the museum director, and for 3 weeks, the story dominated the headlines. Many citizens visited the Louvre to see the empty space on the wall, while street vendors outside the Louvre sold postcards and reproductions of the Mona Lisa. To fill the empty space, Raphael's painting Baldassare Castiglione, a work strongly influenced by the Mona Lisa, was hung in its place. On March 1912, the Louvre acquired Camille Corot's Woman in the Pearl, the most famous modern homage to Leonardo's Mona Lisa. In 1913, the Mona Lisa was no longer listed in Louvre's catalogue. Peruggia had hidden the Mona Lisa a few meters away from the Louvre in his apartment, in a hole in a wall. Ultimately, however, he wanted to bring it home to Italy. Therefore, on December 12, 1913, he tried to sell the painting to the art dealer Alfredo Geri in Florence. Geri received a letter signed Leonardo, in which the writer claimed to want to return the painting to Italy and demanded 500,000 lire to cover his expenses. Geri informed Giovanni Poggi, the director of the Uffizi, and expressed his interest. Peruggia came to Florence and showed the painting in his hotel room. Geri and Poggi examined it and found the correct inventory number from the Louvre on the back. Later, they compared the tiers with the help of the photograph of the original and were now sure they had the original in front of them. They persuaded Peruggia to wait for the money in his hotel and called the police. The public reaction was strong. Italian nationalists demanded that their Mona Lisa should stay at home. The Italian government assured that it would return the Mona Lisa to the Louvre. But first, the painting went on tour and it was exhibited in Florence, Rome, and Milan. It traveled in a specially made padded box and with an honor guard. Finally, the Mona Lisa returned to Paris with a grand state ceremony. The trial against Peruggia was a disappointment for the sensation-seeking public, as the perpetrator turned out to be an occasional criminal, not a specialized art thief. Peruggia was sentenced to only 7 months in prison. The public excitement had given the Mona Lisa high recognizability. If the painting had already been known before the theft, it truly became famous after its disappearance.